Vanessa Francis and Judy Kretmar have been practicing transmission meditation for nearly 50 years between the two of them. Welcome, Judy. Welcome, Vanessa. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Good to be here. So we're going to be doing transmission meditation in this segment. Can you tell me specifically what is transmission meditation?
Well, transmission meditation is the stepping down of spiritual energies in group formation to a level that can be beneficial to the mass of humanity and to the planet as a whole.
And where's this energy coming from?
It's coming from what we call the spiritual hierarchy, which are a group of very evolved individuals, masters of the wisdom, who are really just our older brothers and sisters who have gone before us on the evolutionary road and have completed their journey and have come back to aid humanity in the rest of their journey towards becoming masters themselves.
So they're dead. Do you like where I
Not
I'm
necessarily,
like,
actually.
No.
No, they
Okay.
have.
They're just ahead of us.
They
They're just
are
one step ahead.
no longer need to incarnate in a physical body.
So they have bodies of light, but many of them have incarnated to help us along that same way. It's their service in a sense.
So some of them are here on the planet
Yes.
Earth with us, and some
Right.
of them are not.
Yes.
Correct. Many of the masters that are here with us now have made a conscious decision to come back and help humanity. It's not a given. Many who have got to that point in their own evolution have chosen to go on to other work and to leave our planet. So we're very fortunate to have them
So in this
that sense. Yeah.
And so in this practice, we sit, and then energy is brought to us through these masters. And I think that we need to have 3 people present to have. Is it always to groups, right?
It's done in groups. That's the difference that separates this kind of meditation from most forms of meditation. 3 people is ideal as a minimum, because you form a triangle, and it's through this triangle that energy can be sent more efficiently and more potently. The triangle essentially potentizes the energy. Now, the more people you have in the transmission group, the more energy that can be sent through, and the more good that can be done in the world. Again, we don't direct the energy. It's really so simple. We just sit and lightly focus on the center between the eyebrows, which is the directing center, and hold our attention there. Now, it's very difficult sometimes to hold your attention there for an hour or 2 hours. And if you find your attention wandering or dropping, it'll often drop to the solar plexus where our emotions are. You just silently sound the Om, and that automatically brings the attention up to the Ajna center. You're only actually
The Ajna center being
between the eyebrows,
point right here.
You're actually only truly doing transmission meditation or transmitting when that focus is there, because the focus sets up an alignment between the physical brain and the soul, and it's through that alignment, through that channel essentially, that the masters send the energy and through you and out into the world.
So can this be done? It can only be done in groups, or it can be done individually? Or?
It's ideally done in groups of 3 or more. It can be done with 2. It can even be done with 1. The number 3 is what actually potentizes it. So it really increases its benefit.
It makes it stronger.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And not only that, the more energy that can be sent through.
So the more good it can do.
Right, exactly.
So let me just see if I got this right. So when you do this particular practice, you sit and you focus on this point between your eyes. And energy is passed through us from masters, some of whom are living, some.
Well, they transform the energies that are coming into the world. They're called the master scientists. So it's not dangerous at all for you. because they know they can see where you are and how much energy should be sent through you. So actually, we just act as vehicles, as
Like
channels,
conduit or
conduits,
something.
exactly, conduits for this energy to be sent through us.
So this energy, so we concentrate here, and the energy sort of goes out, and whenever we sort of lose track of that, we say Om, sort of silently to ourselves, just once, or do we repeat it?
You can keep repeating it as long as
Just to
the
focus
just
yourself.
focus, yeah.
Right.
And then we sort of focus here, and then keep doing that. How long generally? I mean, we're going to do it. We're going to do it in a minute here, and we're going to just do it for a little bit of time. But if in your groups, how long do you generally do that for?
As a
does
rule,
it
I mean, both of us host groups, so we tend to do it for 2 hours. But we don't require people to stay for the full 2 hours.
In other words, someone can come, and if they find that, you know, it's too much and they can't do it anymore, they can just, you know, quietly leave. When I first became introduced to this, it was well, first of all, this is another thing. You do not have to have any previous meditation knowledge in order, or practice in order to do transmission meditation. I had never done meditation before I came upon this and decided to participate. And there was no way that I was going to sit for an hour or 2 hours. I wasn't even going to sit for 20 minutes. And
2 hours is a long time.
it's a long time, but you do find over the course of doing it week after week that the energies are so palpable, are so strong. You know, if you don't believe even that this is, you know, okay, is this really happening? There was someone I knew that said, well, I believe what Benjamin Krem said about transmission, you know, about the energies and stuff, but because I felt it, the palpable energy, it made it much more real to me, you know. And but essentially, not everyone feels the energies. That doesn't mean you're not transmitting just because you don't feel it. Everyone has a different kind of makeup, and so different kinds of energies come through. And so you might not feel it as strongly one day as another day. And
I mean, I didn't feel anything for the first 5 years.
Is that
least,
right?
If not 10. If not 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we do this practice, what's happening is these masters are sending energy down to us,
through us.
through us,
Through us.
and where's that energy going?
Out into the world, but it's being directed by the masters.
Where
Is it
it's,
going
where it's needed.
where it's needed? It's
Right.
not necessarily in my community or
No.
my family.
No.
Or whatever.
No.
It's
so,
just where
so
it's
we
needed.
don't direct it at all. Matter of fact, we shouldn't.
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, you can say, oh wow, the Middle East is really a problem. I'd like to send.
Right.
Sometimes it's
Or my family.
It can
family.
really get in the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can. Sometimes it's necessary to withdraw energy and create a vacuum. So we're not knowledgeable at the way that they are about these kinds of energies. So we leave it to them. That's why it's so simple.
And the reason why they're able to do this is because they're further along the evolutionary path, and so
Right.
they
Yes.
see things or know
Yes.
things that we don't know yet.
Exactly.
So they understand how energy works. They understand how they can best help in an from an energetic perspective. You know, we just have no clue.
I mean, they transform and scientifically balance these energies, something we can't really do because our knowledge isn't there.
Yeah, and I mean the question that sort of comes to me is like, how do they know how to do that? How do they do that? You know, what are they?
Well, that's
seeing
what
or
we're all
doing?
trying to find
Yeah,
out.
all right.
Because they're-
Keep at the practice.
Exactly.
And then you'll know.
I mean, we'll be there someday.
Yeah.
It's not like some other people, some other beings. It's the same path that we're all traveling.
It's like a continuum.
It's a continuum,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, that is. It does have a nice feel to it to think that like we're all on the same path, and that you know we can also be them.
Right.
You know,
We're
not
all
like
masters
Yeah.
in training.
Right.
We're all, you know.
not like they're up here and we're down here. We're all like
Just the same way as we're all divine, it's just that they have manifested their divinity,
And we have yet to.
and we have yet to.
Should we try it? You want to try it?
Sure.
Okay, so what do we? So
Well,
we're
we
gonna.
start with the Great Invocation. The Great
Okay.
Invocation is a way of alerting the masters to a group who is ready to participate in a transmission meditation. the great invocation was given through Maitreya, who is actually the master of the masters. He's the head of the spiritual hierarchy on this planet. And he gave this in 1945 when he announced his intention to come back into the human world.
In physical form
himself. So we use this invocation in order to, as I said, let the masters know that we're ready.
Essentially, the invocation is a mantra, and it sets up this conduit between the hierarchy, the spiritual kingdom, the hierarchy, and the people who are meditating.
Okay. And so we're going to say the invocation, and then we're going to do focus on here.
The Ajna Center.
The Ajna Center. And then we're just going to sit in
Quietly,
silence.
yes.
Just for a couple of minutes. Yes.
Just for a couple minutes.
And
And while I'm doing this, if I lose my train of thought or I'm no longer focusing here, I just say silently and bring myself back to here, right?
Right.
And I might invite your viewers who are watching this show to participate if they'd like.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So should we say the
Sure.
invocation?
Absolutely.
I
Sure.
have my little card here.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to get one too.
From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
So, and then it sort of just wraps itself up after a certain period of time is when we end it. Is that
Well,
right? I mean, normally, not on television.
Right. Well, actually, there are groups in existence who continue to meditate until the energies subside.
Which
So there are
could be
groups
3 or
that go
4
for 3 or
hours.
4 hours, or even longer. And often when, there are periods when we do longer meditations as well. So it can go for an awfully long time. Yeah.
So
I mean, during the week when we have our groups on a regular basis,
we have to go to work the next day. We
keep it to a 2-hour time frame so that everybody's, gets home.
So, was I supposed to feel anything, or was anything supposed to
Not
happen?
necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily.
I did. I felt
did
it pretty.
too, but-
I felt it pretty strongly, just to
And what did you feel?
What I usually feel if I'm feeling the energies is like a cap around your head. But this time, and occasionally I have, which was interesting, I heard a tone, which occasionally will happen to me, not all the time. So, and people see colors sometimes, see the energy in colors, but I haven't.
And what about you, Vanessa?
For me, it's usually very subtle. It's a sort of it's a change in density, and I feel a really strong connection through the top of my head, or actually through my ajna center, really up, just up. Yeah.
I mean, it's like a little buzz now.
Yeah.
Is that the energy, when you say it passes through us, is it passing any particular direction? I mean,
Well, it comes through all of our chakras,
chakras
through
are
here,
energy
though, right? It comes in
centers.
through here and then passes.
and then comes
Yes.
through in whatever format the masters choose. It stimulates our chakras in a very specific way. I mean, the masters see us as light, and they can see what is working for us or not, and they can. And transmission meditation can actually be incredibly healing. So whilst it is not necessarily a healing meditation, there is certainly a healing element to it. It balances our energies, definitely.
And so this energy passed through us and went into the greater world. And why don't they just send this energy directly to the greater world? I mean, why do they need us as conduits?
That's actually a really good question, which we didn't include before, which is that these energies that are coming in are so powerful that if they were sent in directly, they would just sort of bounce off most of humanity and would not be able to be absorbed by them. And so what we do essentially is act the way we act as substations, similar to the way a transformer does in electricity, which is stepping down the energies to make them more usable, so you can plug in your toaster. Do we still use toasters? Yes, but that's what it essentially does. And that's what we are doing to the energies that are coming through. We're stepping down the energies to make them more usable.
And if we ourselves are not sort of capable of that, then it would just bounce off of us like it does the greater community, right?
Well, it's not that we're capable or not. If we weren't being used in this way, if we weren't availing ourselves of this, this allowing them to send the energies through us in order to step them down, then they would simply bounce off most of humanity. But essentially, we're doing that the same. Human beings are really doing that the same way to the lower kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the vegetable kingdom. We act as a clearinghouse for energies, stepping them down, because if human beings didn't exist, the animal kingdom and the other kingdoms would not get the quota of energy in the balance that they needed in order to survive from the sun. So this is another method, this is another way of doing it for the majority of humanity, to step it down and send it out into the world.
So we're almost out of time. We only got a couple minutes left. I wanted to sort of talk very briefly about Maitreya. Who is Maitreya? I know it's a very big topic, but we only have a couple minutes. So
For another show, no. Go ahead.
Well, as I said, Maitreya is the master of the masters. He is an extremely advanced individual, even more so than many of the masters. And he has returned, as many of the masters are doing at this point in history, to an open mission as a New World teacher. He has come to help, to guide, to inspire humanity to their own evolution. Now, he and the rest of the masters have done this in many respects from behind the scenes for millennia. But because of the point we are in history, we're at the change of the from the age of Aquarius, the age of Pisces, moving into the age of Aquarius, we're at a point where we're really able to take on different energies and grow in entirely different ways than we have done in the last 2,000 years. Now, Maitreya he's essentially a teacher. He overshadowed, and overshadowing means that he used the individual that was called Jesus 2,000 years ago.
With his permission.
With his permission, to teach, become, a prophet at that point in history. But this time he has come as himself. And the name Maitreya is actually a Buddhist word. It's the Buddhist name for the teacher that they expect. But he is the teacher really who has come for that every religion is expecting. So whether it be Imam Mahdi or the Messiah or,
Krishna.
Yeah. It's
One
the
and
same
the same
individual. And he is in the process of revealing himself to humanity.
Is he here on Earth with us
Yes.
now?
Yes,
Oh, he
in
is.
physical
Okay.
form.
Yes.
It's important to know that he comes as a teacher as opposed to a religious leader. But he comes for people of all religions and no religion. And basically he, along with the masters, are here to guide us and help us out of this morass that we find ourselves in at this point in time. Usually at the end of each age, a teacher will come. And you know some of them as Confucius, the Buddha, Christ, Jesus. And so he comes now at the end of this age to help humanity. Again, it's important, I think another thing that's important to mention is that these masters and Maitreya will not change the world themselves. It's up to us to do it. We have free will. And one of the laws, the esoteric laws, is that you can't infringe anyone's free will. So it's up to us to change the world, but they are here as helpers to aid, to guide, to inspire, to encourage, to help us along the way there. And to me, it's very encouraging. The idea that we have help is very hopeful to me, because if you look around the world today, it could be very, very discouraging. And if I didn't know this information and what I did, I would be really depressed. It's hard not to be anyway, but still, the idea that we have the help is really important.
So we're really pretty much out of time.
Okay.
That's really what the deal is. So it's been really a great pleasure to have you two here today. And I'm really inspired by transmission meditation. And I hope that some people find it enticing and look it up and search it out.
There are many groups around the city. There are two
Yeah.
in Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan. And
Yeah. And all through the United States and
Yes.
the world, I believe, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
So hopefully they will find it. And
They're interested.
I mean, one of the reasons why I started this show is because I feel like, different types of things are good for different types of people or whatever. And so
Absolutely.
I hope that someone finds this inspiring and searches it out. So thank you so much for being here, and